So welcome to our intermediate class today, and just a reminder for those of you who are practicing at home to really go at your own pace, and to, if something doesn't feel right for you, to not do it and to not overdo it. And that fits in really in alignment with our theme today. And it is our last week of 12, and we've been focusing on the Yoga Sutras for the last 12 weeks. And there's so much richness in that text. And so we've had 11 themes so far. This is our 12th, and it took me days. I've been thinking about it for days as to which of the many rich, wonderful themes do I want to pull out of the sutras. And something that's been coming up for me a lot lately is this is anxiety, actually, and stress around. It's been three and a half months. We've been kind of in this limbo lockdown, and there's a lot of uncertainty for me in terms of my relationship and my work and stuff. So, and I found that that's been getting to me, and so I often go back to the Yoga Sutras for the wisdom to help me through those challenging times. So I thought I would share with you what I've been working with a little bit this week. So in the Yoga Sutras, there's the concept of something called kleshas. And kleshas are they're things that get in our way, that cause us suffering. And you might not be surprised to know that our suffering basically comes from us, right? So the situation around us, yeah, it can be stressful, but it's our own experience that causes us suffering or not. So for instance, I know people who are like, this coronavirus thing, it's awesome. I get to stay home. I don't have to worry about doing this and that. And they're actually really, really okay with it. Maybe not so okay with people dying and all of that, but for themselves, it's not a stressful situation. And for others, it's terribly stressful, right? And it's what we bring to the situation, not so much what the situation brings to us. And so the kleshas, there are 5 of them, 5 things that cause us suffering. And the first thing is kind of the root of it all, and everything relates to this one thing. They translate it as ignorance. What it really boils down to is not being with reality. So whenever we feel stress, what's happening is what we want to happen is different from what's actually happening, right? And we don't see things clearly. So avidya is the Sanskrit word. We don't see things clearly. And there are 4 other ways that kind of contribute to that. So one is our ego, right? We think we're so great, or we think we suck. And we don't see ourselves clearly. So when we interact with the world, we have that filter going on. 2 others are clinging and aversion, and we talked about those in an earlier class. We want something to be different than it is, so we cling to how we think it should be, or we don't like the way it is, so we try to push it away. And all of that pulling and pushing creates so much tension in ourselves. And then the 4th way that we support this inability to see clearly is through fear, right? We get all sorts of fears that cause us to want to do certain things that may or may not be helpful to us. Right? We all have fear. Fear is normal, and it's not like we're going to eradicate fear, but it's those irrational fears that create this sense of tension in us. And so the wisdom from the Yoga Sutras is, whenever you feel stress, whenever you feel tension, where is the cognitive dissonance between what we want, what our mind wants, and what we know really deep down is reality? And those things, they just fight. So when we feel stressed, ask ourselves, in what area am I not accepting things the way they are, right? And that's hard. It's really hard to accept things that we don't like or that we don't want. But the way through our stress and our tension is to learn to be at peace with those things that we can't control, right? We cannot control what's going on with this virus. Can we put our energy into accepting that things are as they are? And whatever it is in your life, the same thing applies. We're going to start seated, do a little bit of breath and awareness work, and then we'll get into the practice from there. So grab a comfortable seat if you want a chair or a cushion, whatever works for you, and I will see you on the mat. we'll start with the idea of a little bit of a check-in. And I know for me, sometimes when I'm doing my yoga practice or I'm checking in and I feel something doesn't feel quite right in my body, or I want to feel differently, and I can spend a lot of energy focusing on one thing that trying to fix, instead of really putting my energy into being curious and noticing what's going on. And I find when I put my energy into trying to fix something really strongly, that I end up creating more tension. So today, as we practice, really working to be with what is, to accept what is. If something is too much for us, can we just put it down and not do it without feeling badly? Right? And that might be easier in your own home than with the pressure of a teacher watching you or other students in the room. So really invite you to tune into that which works best for you today. What really accepts and works with reality rather than rejects and works against reality. So let's take a moment to tune into the area around the belly. So this is a really rich area of sensations and emotions. So all of our emotions, we have a corresponding sensation in the body if we really tune in and notice. And the belly is an area where we do tend to hold tension. So tune into this area around your belly. You can close your eyes if you like. And notice, are you gripping or holding your belly? Do you notice any movement of your abdomen when you breathe, or is it held quite tightly and most of your breath movement is in the chest? And none of this is about judgment or trying to change anything. We're just tuning in and noticing. So see if, as you notice what's happening in your abdomen, any sensations or thoughts. Sometimes when we focus on an area of the body that maybe we've not felt so good about, that those not so good feelings emerge. So notice, how do you actually feel about your abdomen? Is it an area of your body you feel good about, that you feel love and acceptance for? Is it a part of your body that you struggle to accept and love? Is it possible to soften and relax the muscles of your belly a little bit more? So often we hold the abdomen tight. Could you just allow it to relax? And again, be aware of any thoughts or feelings that arise as you bring your attention here. Maybe when you relax your belly, there's a judgment or a voice in your head that says, hold your belly in. Flat belly is more attractive. Whatever comes up for you. Right, let's bring in a little bit of movement now. So we'll work with the flexion and extension of the spine in a seated cat-cow kind of movement. So you're going to inhale and let the heart lift, back arch, exhale and round. You can gently contract the abdomen a little bit as you draw the belly button toward the spine on your exhale. And then soften, relax, and feel the whole front of your body expand as you breathe in. Continue that movement, and I'll give you some space and quiet to just do this movement slowly and notice what you're aware of as you move. Great, and then let's come back to a neutral position for the spine and take another moment to simply notice and check in. Has anything shifted with that little tiny bit of movement? And the answer might be no, and that's fine. And then let's take the arms out to the sides. Palms can turn up, stretch the fingers wide, draw the shoulders down, and then slowly lift the arms, reaching up overhead. Feel each little nuance of stretch as you take as many breaths as you need to bring the arms overhead. You can touch the fingertips together or the palms together, bend your elbows if you need. And then open the arms, stretching them out, bringing the fingertips back toward the floor, shoulders relax. And again, take a few breaths to really reach out and up. Feel all of the little nuances of sensation. And then again, reaching out to the sides. Okay, let's lift the arms to about parallel to the ground now. And do some circles with your wrists. You can go one way and then the other. Right. And then press the palms away, fingertips up, and check in that you're not lifting up your shoulders. So feel that stretch across the arms and wrists, fingers spread wide, shoulders relaxed. You can bend and lower your arms if you need to. Great. And then we're going to make the hands into fists and turn the fists down toward the ground. Bring the hands in, elbows bending to bring the hands to the shoulders, and then press out. Press out, shoulders relax, draw in, wrists turn down. If you want to coordinate your breathing here, you're going to inhale as you reach out, exhale as you draw in. Good, last one. Right, and then reach the hands out, turn the palms up, shoulders relax down. We're going to lift the arms up, bring the palms together, and then bring the hands down in front of the heart. Pause here for a moment. Again, relax the belly, find as much ease with the breath as you can. We'll take the hands, turn the palms toward the floor, bring the backs of the hands together and circle the wrists around until the palms come out, facing up. And then you'll turn the palms down, backs of the hands together, fingers roll in, and palms up. And we'll do that again. Right, and then pause here with the palms open. And let this be a gesture of humility and acceptance. So whatever is reality, whatever is the truth of this moment, just let that land in your hands, whatever it is. You don't have to have a deep awareness of that, but just this openness that whatever is acceptable. You're open, you're receiving, you're available to this reality. And then we're going to bring the hands back so the hands come together, down, around, and bringing that intention into your heart. That intention of being with what is as fully and as openly as possible. Noticing when you feel the tension that arises, that comes from when we fight with reality, when we fight with what is through our ego, through clinging, aversion, or fear. Right, and then let's spread that intention all around us. So lifting that intention to be with what is, spreading it out all around as if we could really create that strong vibe of acceptance. in us, through us, around us, with us. Great. And then as your hands come down this time, you can go ahead and stretch out your legs if they're crossed. And you give them a little shake, wave them side to side, wake them up. And then we'll come around to come onto hands and knees. So from this position, we can keep working with that extension and flexion of the spine. Really be aware of what's happening with your head. So as you lift the tail and chest, let the head follow the line of your spine. So it's not cranking back or hanging down, but creating that nice arc. As you exhale, your tailbone turns under, the spine rounds, the head comes so the chin tucks right in toward the chest. Inhaling, lengthening the front of the body, exhaling, lengthening the back of the body. Now, if you want to bring a little bit more of a different focus to this movement, which is very, very simple, we do it almost every class, think about starting your inhale with your tail. So the tail starts, the spine unravels, the head lifts. And then start your exhale with your head. So the head comes down, the upper back, the lower back, and then pelvis move. When the pelvis starts the inhale, the head follows. The head starts the exhale, the spine follows. So try a few more with that awareness if that appeals to you, if that works for you. Great. And then eventually you can find your way to child's pose, either bringing the knees apart or keeping them together, letting the head rest on your hands or on the ground. And you can rock your hips a little side to side. So working out any tension in your low back. Right, and then let's come back to the center and we'll roll up to sit on the heels. And we'll start a little bit of that very gentle movement with the breath, the kneeling sun salutation. So we'll come up to a high kneeling position. And then from here, moving into child's pose. From child's pose, coming to all fours. From all fours, exhale into downward dog. You can spend a couple of breaths here if you like, maybe walking on the spot, warming up. And then we'll come back to all fours, breathing in, lifting the heart, lifting the tail. Exhale, let the head tuck in, spine rounds and follows, moving the hips to the heels. And then inhaling back up to all fours. We'll move back into downward dog. Again, you can spend a couple of breaths here. Back to all fours, breathing in. Exhaling, child's pose. Let's come up to high kneeling, lifting all the way up. Great. And exhale, stay upright, but let the arms lower down. So from here, we can take one leg, and as long as this is okay with your knee, the kneeling knee, take one leg to the side, toes point forward. If you need extra padding under your knee, go ahead. And then the hand that corresponds to the leg to the side is resting on the side of the thigh, the other arm reaching up. And feel an anchor down to the knee on the ground, reaching up through the arm, breathing in. And then as you exhale, you can slide the hand down the leg, come into a bit of a side bend. Good. And then come up and release the arm down. Coming up and reaching over. Coming up and reaching down. Again. Great. Just making sure you're not pressing down on the leg. You're just sliding the hand down. If you feel like you're pressing on the leg, you can keep the hand on the hip instead. So you can stay for a couple of breaths, and it's not about going as far as you can to the side, but really feeling anchored and lengthened. Good. Let's bring the arm down. You can slide that knee in. We'll come back to all fours and do a few rounds of the cat-cow or moving from all fours to child's pose. You might notice things feel a little different from one side to the other, but you might not. It just really depends on your body, what's going on for you. Right, so from next time when you come to child's pose, we're going to lift up to high kneeling again. Exhale to release, and you can take the other leg out to the side. Toes forward, the hand on is just resting, it's not pushing down. Other arm reaching up. Find that anchor, so pressing down into the knee on the ground, reaching up through the arm. You know, if your knees aren't happy with this position, you can just do this standing, just standing straight on both feet. Coming over to the side, lifting and releasing. So you can come up and over with a breath in. Good. Exhale, back to center. And if you like, you can stay this time. Again, it's not about going as far as you can, but really lengthening. Good. When you're ready, come back up and slide the knee in. And come back to all fours and do a few more rounds of either cat-cow or moving from all fours to child's pose. If you want, you can add in downward dog as well. So alternate all fours child's pose, all fours downward dog, or however, you know, maybe you want to do 2 child's pose for every downward dog, or maybe you want to stay in child's pose or stay in downward dog. So really use this opportunity, this class, to really keep checking in and asking yourself, what is my reality? What is true for me right now? And can I practice in a way that honors that? Right, so from all fours, you can come into downward dog if you're not there already. Right, and let's step one foot forward toward the hands, and then we'll step the other foot forward toward the hands. Let the head release down. Bring your hands up to your shins, or you can keep them on the ground if you've got the flexibility to still lengthen the spine there. And then exhale, fold forward. Keep your knees soft. Take a few breaths here. Try to let your head relax. And then coming all the way up, reaching arms up over the head. And then bringing the palms together, hands to the heart. Take a breath in here. And as you exhale, let your arms release down to your sides. So we'll come into mountain pose, the basic standing posture of yoga. Also in Sanskrit is called Tadasana. And in Tadasana, you want to feel that your weight is a little bit more into your heels. So you can lift your toes up, let your weight go into your heels, and feel your thighs engage. So Tadasana, you can let your toes come down anytime. Tadasana is not a pose that's, you don't want it to be really rigid, but you also want it to have integrity. So you want to feel that you're in the pose with integrity, but not holding yourself in a stressed or rigid kind of way. So as your heels go in and down to the ground, the hips slightly back over the heels compared with weight on the balls of the feet. The hips come back with the heels, shoulders rest over the hips, and the ears rest over the shoulders, so your head's not forward or back. So in that position, imagine from the navel down, or just below the navel actually, down to the earth, there's a feeling of drawing into the earth, a feeling of being grounded. And from that same point up, there's a feeling of lifting. It's sort of like a tree, the roots going down, the trunk lifting up. And we can think about this with the breath. So as you exhale, think about your roots going into the earth as if they were coming right down your legs, through your heels, into the earth and spreading out beneath you. But as you inhale, you want to feel a lifting, a lightening, and expanding up the crown of your tree, the trunk of your tree. It's probably not a coincidence. These words are the same. And then we're going to add on a little more to this idea of working with the breath, grounding and lifting. So as you exhale and feel yourself grounding down, see if you can keep a little bit of the lift at the same time. And as you inhale and lift, see if you can keep a little bit of the grounding at the same time. So it's like the yin yang symbol, right? We're grounding and lifting a little, and then we're lifting a little, or grounding a little and lifting a lot. So find that balance, a little bit of lift as you ground, a little bit of grounding as you lift. And we'll take maybe another few breaths here just to really tune into that rhythm. From here, let's bring the hands onto the hips. And again, have a little bit of sense of pressing downward and feeling really grounded here. We're going to move into tree pose, actually. And we're going to take it stage by stage by stage and really check in with what works for you today. So we're going to start by shifting the weight to one foot, lifting the heel of the other foot so you come onto the ball of your foot, and then turning the knee away from the other leg. As you bring the foot closer so that the foot rests against the ankle, things may start to get a little more wobbly. And we want to try to find that place where we're balanced, but we're not straining to balance. There's some effort, there's some focus, but it's doable. So you can try lifting your foot onto the ankle or onto the calf if you like. If you want to go further and your balance will allow, you can bring your foot right up into your thigh. And then hands can come to the heart or reach up. So if you find you're in a version of the pose and you're kind of doing this the whole time and flailing around, find an easier version, right? Maybe just having the foot on the ankle and occasionally touching down, because losing your balance is definitely not failing. But being in a pose where you're waving around and you're having a really hard time, that's not helpful either. So we're looking for that balance, accepting what is, right, wherever your balance is, and finding the way of working with it that really works for you. So coming out of the pose as you're ready, you can release the leg, release the arms. And we'll try the same thing on the other side. So you're going to shift your weight, come onto the ball of your foot. Try not to let the hip go out, so you keep lifting, rotating the knee away. And again, find that perfect spot where, you know, maybe balance isn't perfect, right? I say the perfect spot. It's not the balance needs to be perfect, but that we're working with what we've got, right? Instead of flailing around or just being completely bored, too easy, finding that nice in-between place. And then again, you can bring the hands to the heart or reach up if it helps, out to the side, whatever works. Good. Again, if you lose your balance, that's not a failure. Accept that that is just the way it is and come back into the pose. Okay, let's release and release and give the legs a little shake. And then we'll take the feet apart, and just in case we brought some tension in the standing work, in the balance work, I should say, circling the hips around. You can go each direction a few times. Great, and then coming back to the center. So we are going to do some slow sun salutations today, and keep it on just the more relaxed side, I would say, and add in as we go. So you want to be starting somewhere near the front of your mat. Last week we worked a lot on chaturanga and plank. If you want to bring some of that in this week, you can, but I'm going to keep it on the simpler side. So again, pressing into your heels, feel the sense of going down into the earth with your roots, lifting with the trunk and the crown. And then from there, breathing in, extending the arms and reaching up. Find a little lift in the heart. Exhale, fold forward. You can bend your knees to keep things nice and soft. Inhale, find extension. Exhale, fold forward. And let's take the right leg back and step into lunge. So we'll take a few breaths here in lunge. And in lunge, we want the hips low, if possible. And then think about the back hip moving slightly forward as the forward hip moves back. So you're feeling a sense of engagement through the pelvis and hips. From here, let's move into downward dog. Again, you can take your time here, maybe walk on the spot. So here, if you wanted to, you could come into plank and then chaturanga, or you can lower your knees, coming into the cow, and then child's pose. And if you've been working with chaturanga and plank, you can always lower the knees and come back to child's pose anytime. And then inhaling, we'll come back up to all fours. Exhaling, moving into downward dog. From downward dog, we'll step forward with the right foot. And again, hips low, right, as opposed to being way up here, which is fine if that's what's available for you. And if that's where you're at today, your job is to be okay with that. If the hips can come lower, you're going to get a little more stretch. But again, it's really so dependent on what feels right for you. Back hip moves forward, forward hip moves back. That does lift the hips generally a little. And then we're going to step forward. From here, extending with a breath in. And then exhaling to fold. Inhaling, come all the way up. And exhale to release. And inhale and lift. And exhale and fold forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold again. Let's take the left leg back this time. I'm not sure if I specified last time, but whichever leg you stepped back with last time, let's step back with the opposite leg. Again, squaring the hips, so the back hip slightly forward, forward hip back. You can stay with the hands on the ground, or if you want to extend your lunge, you can lift up. And then bring the hands down, stepping back to downward dog. Coming to all fours. Again, if you want chaturanga, chaturanga upward dog, you can do that instead of where I'm going. Eventually finding your way to child's pose for a few breaths. Eventually coming back up to all fours. With your next exhale, moving into downward dog. And we'll take the same foot forward that you stepped back with earlier. For me, it's the left. Coming into plank or coming into lunge. And again, you can choose to stay low or you can choose to lift in lunge. Breathing in as you lift, breathing out, and stepping forward in the same exhale if possible. Extending the spine with a breath in. Exhaling to release. Inhale and come all the way up. And then exhaling back into Tadasana. Take a few breaths here again with this idea of dropping down into the earth with your exhale, lifting up with the trunk and the crown on your inhale. Keeping a little bit of the lift as you ground down, keeping a little bit of the grounding as you lift up. Okay, so we'll switch it up with our next sun salutation, coming up with the breath in. Good. Exhale, coming forward. Inhale, lengthening hands to shins or knees or ground. Exhale, fold forward. We'll step back and turn the foot out. So I'm stepping back with the right foot. You can, whichever foot you choose, but remember which, because you'll do the other one on the other side. So turning the foot to the side for warrior. We're going to inhale and lift in warrior one. Pressing into the back heel, strong back leg, and feel a sense of extending up from that back leg. Good. Exhale, move your front leg straighter if possible as you come forward. Let the head come down. And then you'll bend the knee, take your wings out, and lift all the way up with a long spine. And then exhale, keep the spine long as you come forward, letting the head release. Letting the spine lift as you bend the knee and come up. So do a couple more. Find your own rhythm, your own fluidity and balance here. And if that's not what you're finding, can you find acceptance of what is? Next time you come forward, stay for a few breaths. Think about the hip of the front leg moving slightly back as you let the spine relax forward. I'm going to bend the front knee now. Take the back foot, turn it forward. Step back to downward dog. And again, you can take a few breaths here, walking on the spot, or at any point, lower down to child's pose. Coming to child's pose, take a few breaths there. Again, you can rest your head on your hands or the ground. And then we're going to come back up to all fours. With an exhale, coming into downward dog. And then whichever foot was back last time will come forward this time. So for me, it's the right. You're going to turn the back foot out to the side so that foot can be wholly on the ground. And then inhale and lift up into your warrior one. So again, find that really strong back leg, pressing into the heel and the outer edge of your foot. Find a nice extension through the body, through the arms, through the crown of the head. And then we'll move from the upright position forward. You can let the head release toward the knee as you come up, using all the muscles in the back of the body from the top of your head to the back of your back leg. Lengthening as you lift. Great. Next time your hands come down, you can stay there. And again, move the front leg a little straighter as is available to you. And you can even think about moving that hip back a little bit. So you're, instead of pushing the hips forward, they're coming back. And that will give a nice length to the back of that leg. You can bend it as much as you need to be comfortable. And let's come forward. Hands to shins, finding length. Exhale to release. And inhale to lift all the way up. And exhale to come back. Let's come into the same kind of movement again. We'll add on. So breathing in, coming up. Good. Exhale, come forward. Whichever leg you stepped back with last time, so for me it was the right, I'm going to do the same leg. So I'm going to step back with the right leg, and I'm going to turn the foot to the side. And I'm going to take my arms out to the sides, and my belly's resting more or less on my front thigh. And I'm holding here for a few breaths. You can lift a little higher if you like. But you want to find long spine. So it's not rounding. I'm going to lift the heart. Good. And then we'll bring the hands down. Turn the back foot forward, step back. And we'll go right to the other side. So if you're working the same foot as me, it's the right foot forward, left foot turns out. We're going to keep the body low toward the thigh and lift the heart, arms to the sides. So really strengthening. If it's too much, hands onto the thigh and lots of acceptance of wherever you're at. Okay, bring the hands down. Again, we'll step forward. Inhale, hands to shins, lengthen. Exhale, release and fold. Inhale, lift all the way up. Exhale, release. Great. For the next one, if you have blocks, you might find them useful. A chair would also do the trick here as well. Maybe I'll show with a chair because that's a little more of a common thing that you might have at home. But you can, if you have the ability to go lower and have some blocks, or you could potentially use the floor to support yourself as well. So from here, we're going to lift up and come forward, bringing the hands to your chair or the blocks or the floor. And you want to have your chair about a foot away from you or your blocks. So there's this alignment, right? So arms straight up and down, torso straight across, legs straight up and down. You can certainly bend your knees, but you don't want to be all crunched up here or way back here. So from this place, we're going to lift one leg and try to find lots of length through the torso, through the leg. So if you're lower down, it's fine. Right? It doesn't matter where your hands are. Think about finding that lift in the leg. Hips level, toes point down, so there's a bit of internal rotation in the leg. Right, and then let's bring that side down. And we'll work with the other side, lifting. Find a little lift in the chest too. And again, you can do this even with your fingertips or hands on the ground. I'm gonna find length. Right, and then release. Bend both knees. Inhale and lift. Good. Exhale to release. So let's try that one more time, and this time we'll also see how we can manage without the hands on the ground or the chair. So coming up, we'll start there. Exhaling, hands to the ground or the chair or your blocks. You're gonna raise the leg. Good. Toes down, heel pressing back, hips level, so we're not turning the hips to the side, but keeping them level. And then you can try raising one or both arms to the sides. Good, just testing your balance. Don't spend too long there. Coming back down, you'll switch. So again, just test your balance. Maybe for you it's just one arm, maybe both arms, or maybe keeping both hands down is your better option. And bring the foot down, bend the knees, lift all the way up with the breath in. Exhale and release. So now we can move our props, chair or blocks or whatever you've got. And we'll work with that warrior 3 pose coming from our warrior 1 in sun salutation. So just adding a little bit more challenge here, but of course you're going to work with this series in the way that's best for you. So you may even leave your chair there so you've got it handy. So heels go down, roots go down. Keep that sense of going down as you find a little lift through the upper body. And then from there, inhale and lift. Exhale, come forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. It doesn't matter which leg you take back first. We're going to step back into, you can actually step to warrior one, turning the foot to the side. That's just going to give you lots of stability as we lift up. You want to make your stance shorter. So if you're too spread out, it becomes more challenging. So have your stance a little bit shorter for your warrior one. Great, we're gonna come forward. You can bring your hands onto your front knee and find that length in your torso. When you feel stable and you feel balanced here, you can try taking the arms to the side. So your legs now have to work a lot more. And then start to shift your weight onto your front foot. You can keep that back foot down if you need to. You can lift it a little, or you can lift it right up into warrior three. And if you lose your balance, accept that. Totally fine. Come back into the pose. When you're ready, we're going to step back to warrior one, breathing in. And you'll exhale, bring your hands down. Let's step forward. Hands to shins, lengthen. Exhale to release. Come all the way up, breathing in. And we'll go right back into the forward bend with an exhale. Inhale, lengthen, hands to shins. Exhale to fold. We'll step the other foot back. Again, keep it a little shorter in your stance. Inhale, lift to warrior one. And exhale, come forward, hands on the knee, and establish that length in your spine. So you're not rounding here, but staying nice and long. You can take the arms to the sides, find your stability, and then start to shift your weight to your front foot. Maybe lift the back leg, maybe let the upper body come forward, and then you can find that internal rotation in the back leg, toes point down, crown reaching forward. Step back, warrior one. Exhale, hands down, and we'll step forward. Inhale, hands to shins, lengthening. Exhale, release. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, letting the arms come down. So coming back to Tadasana, check in with your belly. You can bring a hand there if that helps. And just notice how your abdominal area feels, maybe compared with the very beginning of class when we checked in with the belly. Just noticing what's present, what you're aware of. You might feel your heart rate is a little bit up from the activity and the heat. So take a few breaths here, let everything settle. See if you can soften your belly a little more, soften your shoulders. Continuing to feel that grounded through the heels, lifting through the crown. A couple more breaths here. And then we're going to make our way down onto the mats. So you can, or if you have a mat, you may not, onto the ground, onto your blanket or carpet or whatever you've got to mark your space and make you comfortable. And as you get there, let's just take another moment here, bringing the hands onto the body to observe and notice the breath. As you're ready, you can bring your knees up in toward your chest with one hand on each knee and move the knees away from you as you breathe in. And as you exhale, draw the knees towards you. Take your time. This is a very simple movement. See if you can really tune into the nuances of what you feel and experience, how the weight shifts, all the little subtleties of this very simple posture. Keep one knee in and bring the other foot to the floor. The leg that's in toward the chest, stretch it toward the ceiling, maybe reach behind to hold the leg if you can, and that's comfortable, or you can just let your arms relax and circle your ankle around. Circle each direction a few times. Heel presses up toward the ceiling. And then relax your foot. Bring the ankle across the opposite leg. Take the hand of the leg that's up and gently press the thigh away from you. If you want more stretch here, you're going to bring the legs closer to the body. So there's many ways to do that. You can literally just lift onto your toes. You can place a book or a block under your foot, or you can reach your hands or a belt behind your leg and hold there for a few breaths. Another option would be to take a hold of your pants if you happen to be wearing any. This is a video class, so no assumptions on this hot day. Breathing here. When you're ready to release, you can bring the foot back to the floor. If you've lifted it, you're going to bring the knee that was up into the chest again. And then release that foot to the floor. We'll bring the other knee in. You can stretch it toward the ceiling and hold on if that feels good for you, and circle the ankle around. One way, then the other. Heel presses up toward the ceiling. And then again, you can relax the foot, bend the knee, and bring the ankle across the opposite thigh. Pressing away with the hand on the leg that's up. And again, if you want more stretch, you're going to bring the legs closer by whatever means you have available. So finding that just right spot for you. You can rock a little side to side if you like. And then eventually you'll come back to the center. You can uncross and bring both knees to the chest. And either repeat that forward and back movement that we did a moment ago, or add the extended movement of arms and legs reaching out on your inhale and back in to the center on your exhale. And then when you feel ready, if there's anything else that your body is needing before Shavasana, you can do that now. Otherwise, finding your way to stillness for a few minutes of relaxation. If you prefer to do this as a seated meditation, you're welcome, of course, to sit instead of lie down. The main thing is that you are comfortable and relaxed in a position that feels good to you. So when you come to stillness, come back to your breath, come back to noticing what's present in your abdomen, whether that's literal sensations, or whether there are thoughts or emotions that arise when you bring your awareness here. And as much as possible, see if you can soften the muscles of your abdomen and let the breath find a little movement there. Focusing on your breath, add a little bit more attention and awareness and emphasis to your exhalation. As you exhale, feel yourself softening tension that you might be aware of in your body. Relax your jaw now. Relax the muscles of your face, forehead, scalp. And if you're lying down, let the weight of your head sink down into the earth. And if you happen to be sitting, imagine your head balanced over your spine so that there's very little effort for your neck. Soften and let your shoulders drop a little more, finding space across the collarbones. Feel your arms and hands let go. See if you can bring a little more ease and relaxation into the area of your rib cage, softening the belly and the lower back. Letting the pelvis sink down as you soften the muscles all around your hips, all around the lower abdomen, the buttocks. Softening and relaxing your thighs, knees, calves, ankles, and feet. Each breath, find a little more ease as you exhale. And know that whenever we feel stressed or anxious, it's because we're not facing what is actually happening. And in Shavasana, being with what is in each moment, simply feeling the breath, coming and going. When thoughts intrude, come back to your breath. The more we can spend our time and attention in the present moment with what is exactly happening right now, the less we're projecting our desires and our aversions, our ego and our fears into the situation. We become more free, more alive. So let's take a couple minutes to simply be with what is right now, being with the breath, maybe noticing the sounds around you and being very present in your environment in this moment. We all want ultimately the same things: to feel at peace, to feel a sense of wholeness. And when we practice this way of letting go and being in the moment, we come much closer to those goals of wholeness and peace. And the chant today invites those qualities of wholeness and peace. They actually are always with us, and they get covered over with our stress and tension and ideas of how things should be. So when we let go of all of that, what arises is this sense of wholeness and peace. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So as always, if you want to stay a little longer in Shavasana, feel free to stay. If you're ready to move on with your day, you can start to deepen your breath a little bit. And if it interests you, you might create the intention of really carrying this theme with you into your day. Noticing when you tense up, when you feel stressed, and really digging in to ask yourself, where am I not acknowledging reality? Where am I clinging or pushing away or getting attached to my ego or fears? Gradually add a little movement if you're choosing to move on. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Move in any way that would feel good to you. And then eventually you'll come back to seated if you're not there already. And we'll bring the hands together. So as you go through your week, I encourage and invite you to really tune into this tension, this dukkha or suffering. Dukkha is the word in Sanskrit they use for suffering. And knowing that we alone can control how much we suffer by how much we hold on to that which we cannot change. So bring your awareness there this week. Soften where you can, accept what you can, and where you can't accept, just accept that. Namaste.